I call the honourable member Cam Calder.
Mr Chair, Citius, Altius, Fortius. Faster, higher, stronger. We all recognise the Olympic motto, but faster, higher, stronger can also describe New Zealand's performance of our tradable sector under this government. A stark contrast despite the best economic times in decades under the heavy regulatory hand of the unlamented last Labor government, the tradable sector languished. We've turned that around. We're building a more productive economy. We're encouraging faster growth. We're producing products that people want and need and getting higher prices for our products, and our tradable sector is stronger and more resilient under the indefatigable Tim Grosser and his team. We've got a clear goal of trade contributing to 40% of our GDP by 2025. Growth in New Zealand, Mr Cosgrove, over the next 4 years is forecast to be higher than Europe, US, UK, Japan and Canada. Citius, Altius, Fortius. This government is a safe pair of hands, a responsible pair of hands, and we are getting on with the job. Prudent management of our debt and fiscal discipline is fundamental to New Zealand's well-being. The financial markets are intolerant of poor fiscal policy. Any profligacy would be penalised by higher interest rates and increased debt servicing costs. We need a buoyant New Zealand economy, weighed down by the least debt possible, to ride out the troubled waters ahead. The global markets, in case you have noticed or haven't noticed, are experiencing ongoing turmoil. Let's take a look at the international financial situation in the US. In the US, unless the Congress acts, across-board income taxes will expire on December the 31st, meaning there will be steep tax increases. The deep automatic government spending cuts of $1.2 trillion over 10 years are slated to begin on January the 2nd, 2013. There's a need early in 2013, of course, also to raise the US borrowing authority or face a debt default, and Congress must decide to fund programs beyond September the 30th, the end of the current fiscal year, to avert government shutdowns. These factors combined will be enough, according to some commentators, to push the US economy over a fiscal cliff. Colourful language, but what does it mean? Well, the Congressional Budget Office estimates that with these spending cuts and the increase in taxes, the US gross domestic product could drop by 4%. 4%, Mr Chair. Right now, the US economy is not looking a picture of health, as growth has slowed to an annual rate of 1.5% and as Americans have cut back on spending. This will not be enough to lower the unemployment rate, which was 8.2% last month. House sales are weakening, and there is a fair old notion that the US economy is threatening to stall. Sadly, the political environment ahead of November the 6th is not likely to be one for compromise and negotiation. Once again, local political brinkmanship and posturing in the US is likely to severely discommode the global financial confidence and structures. Let's look at Europe, Mr Cosgrove. I know your view is normally somewhat more interested. Summit follows summit. Band-Aid is applied to elastoplast. 2 elections were necessary before Greece could receive its latest tranche of funds. The IMF, the European Central Bank and the EU are all looking at it to see whether the austerity measures demanded will be enforced, and already last chance options are being considered. Portugal and Ireland are also under scrutiny. Are they following the tough austerity measures demanded?
Point of order, the honourable member Clayton Cosgrove.
Sir, I apologise. I'm very reluctant to raise a point of order, given what we had some half an hour ago, and I am conscious of Speaker's ruling 20/8. But last time I checked, sir, these are the New Zealand appropriations. This is Vote Finance New Zealand. It's not Greece or Spain or the US or Botswana or anywhere else. This is the New Zealand financial accounts and a New Zealand debate. Now, I know it's appropriate to refer to other jurisdictions from time to time, but we have had 4 or 5 minutes talking about every other country other than this one. And last time I checked, this was the New Zealand Parliament.
Well, thank you for bringing it to the attention of the House, Mr Cosgrove, I appreciate that, but I know that the member is coming closer and closer, and he hasn't got too much time left.
I'll speak more slightly for Mr Cosgrove, because I did mention the whole point of this was prudent financial management. Meanwhile, Spain is putting up its hand and signalling that between now and 2015 we're going to need €540 billion to bail Spain out. And of course the principal point here is a Greek-style bailout of Spain is not possible. Once again, the search goes for an alternative.
Point of order, the Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr Speaker, I have done a quick check of the estimates, and there is no $540 billion to bail out Spain in these estimates.
Well, can I just say to the member that it's a debatable point, and the member has... Well, I can only go on what the member is saying in the House, and it's, I would expect the member to be able to refer to the appropriations as they reflect for this financial year. I call the honourable member Cam Corder.
About context, which is really, the opposition benches are showing why it was such a disastrous period of time when they were in power, because they had no idea of the global context that this country is operating and trading in. Now, the President of the ECB, Mario Draghi, has told business leaders in London just the last week that we will do whatever it takes.
I call the honourable member Russell Norman.
Thank you, Mr Chair.